Alright guys, not good, but my check engine light came on yesterday. I'm just waiting for the bike to warm up. I'm not sure what's wrong with it. It sounds okay, but it's got oil in it. I'll let it warm up a bit. It's a little cool out, that's why I get the exhaust there. Go back here. So last night I think this happened this time last year, so hopefully it's nothing major. It's just maybe the oil's just a little too thick or something like that, I don't know. Let it warm up. It's below plus 10, and I know the bike doesn't run well below plus 10. But last night I was coming in and it got me home, but it made really weird sounds and the engine light came on, and I don't know, it might be the end of this bike. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I mean, if she fucking sees us, she sees us. I've been having a really bad week with mechanical stuff. My chainsaw won't cut. My bike's got problems and I don't know what's wrong with it. Yeah. I should have been a whore because I fucked myself good, that's for sure. Let this warm up, but... And my speedo don't work anymore. Like, yeah, the number's on, but it doesn't register the speed, and the trip meter stopped working. I don't know what's gone on. I was just about to do the 10,000 kilometer review, and yeah. Yeah, so you can see it's starting to go away a bit. It is, I'm in Canada and it's starting to get cool, so yeah, you're going to see that is normal, but you can see it's not staying. It'll take a little while for everything to warm up there. Once it warms up, then that'll get less and less. You can see it's getting less once I hit operational temperature. But what I don't know, that sounds normal, but it didn't sound like that when I pulled in the driveway last night. See if I can hold it at about 5. See, it sounds normal now, but I don't know what it is. But you see, this time last year, the check engine light came on too. Okay, I just shut that off. Maybe I got a dead plug in there. But it just said, like, the power and everything seemed normal, but it was just like it made a weird sound. It sounded like it was running on 2 cylinders when I came up, but the power was there. So I don't know what happened, but just as I was coming into the town, the light came on. And it just started making this weird sound. It doesn't sound like it did last night. Like last night it sounded really weird. So I know last year the oil light came on when it started getting cooler because I guess the oil was so thick. And then it would go off once the bike would warm up. But my oil light, I just checked the oil. The oil's fine in it. I don't know what it is. I don't know when I'm going to get out to the next ride. But obviously I don't want to be riding around with the check engine light on. So my 10,000 kilometer review, well, I'm at about, just about the 10,000 clicks, but I don't know for sure because my odometer's not working properly, and my speedometer stopped working, so I was like, I'll be at like 5,000 RPM in 6th gear, which would be 90 kilometers an hour, 95 kilometers an hour, and it's showing I'm doing like 5 to 7 kilometers an hour. And the trip meter seems like it's down by 1/10. So when you see like 0.7 kilometers, you're really at 70 kilometers. In other words, you don't know how far you are on your tank of fuel. So I don't know what's going on with this thing. The tachometer still works. It works fine. Everything else works. I don't know what it could be. So, but last night coming in, I thought, oh shit, I blew up my bike. Again, it's a little bit cool right now, so yeah, you're going to see, even if I started up that, you'd see maybe not quite that much coming out there, but that has been sitting in the cooler garage overnight. So hopefully I didn't blow a head gasket. I won't know until I take it out for the next run. When that's going to be, I don't know. With the way the weather is going to be changing, we're at the end of September, moving into October. I was going to park the bike in probably about 2 to 3 weeks' time anyway. God, I hope this is not the end of this bike. I love this bike. But again, it's just been a really bad week for me, mechanically speaking. Got a chainsaw where, I'll show you what's going on with that. Finally get the wood, and of course the guy drops it off as late in the season as he possibly can. Give us like no time. If it starts snowing, I'm really screwed. I won't be able to cut this stuff. My dad saw I can't get it going. I got that far anyway, so that's not so bad. But I still got that's not even a quarter weight. It looks like there's more cut than there is. I got all that to cut, and I thought I was gonna set this freaking this guy on fire. The saw was just sitting there spinning. I get maybe about a log. I got up to there. And if it's light at all, it won't cut at all. My rakers are done. The teeth are pretty much gone on it. I need a new chain. So the solution is go out and buy a new chain, right? Problem is, after losing 90% of my income, over the past year, I got no money for anything. So like I told you guys, one thing breaks, my whole world falls apart, and it kind of sucks. And it's like, couldn't I just erect a boot or something that I could have duct taped back together rather than, okay, I need the wood for the winter so I don't freeze to death. And you say, well, cut it by hand. I grabbed the buck saw just for the giggle factor, just to show you. Right there, sawing that just that far, that 1 inch, so the whole way through there, that 1 inch, that's about 10 minutes work. You know what I mean? Yeah, well, maybe not quite 10 minutes, but you get the idea. It'd be springtime before you got it all sawed up that way. No, I just got to get the saw fixed. My dad's not coming back till probably Saturday or Sunday or maybe Friday. I'm not too sure. He's gone moose hunting. I don't want to mess up his saw because I just can't afford to break other people's stuff that's almost half broken anyway. So I have no idea how I'm going to cut all this. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. And on top of that, my bike is now acting up. Again, everything was it never left me anywhere. I'll give it that. But 10,000 K, I was hoping to get way more. I was hoping to get about 10 times that out of it. There's not that much mileage on this bike to begin with. So it'd be about, I bought it, I think, 27,000 K. And now I guess it'd be about 37,000 K on it. So that's really not, that's really the first service. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do the cam chain stuff. Now, I know what you're going to probably say is, Reg, that white smoke is definitely, you got coolant in your exhaust. That means you got a blown head gasket. That is possible, but the thing is it wasn't doing that last night when I got home. There was nothing coming out of the exhaust. It sounded really weird. I don't know what it was. Like I say, it sounded like, it felt like I was running on all 4 cylinders, but it sounded like I was running on 2. It sounded like a twin cylinder. It was weird. Maybe I got a faulty coil. Maybe I got a faulty plug. I don't know what it is. But the check engine light is the part that. I don't know how Triumph has this thing wired up. So when check engine light comes on, what sensors could that be? Is that a head gasket sensor? Is that a exhaust sensor? Is it, what is it? This thing has 500,000 kilometers on it. About 250,000 miles, and the check engine light's probably been on for most of them. So what does it mean? But it's just the idea that this bike was functioning just about perfect up to 2 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden I go out one day and the speedo just doesn't work right. And then yesterday, as I'm coming into the town, if it would have been the oil light, I would have just pulled over. But the check engine light, I'm like, okay, what it is. But it was acting weird. But everything was working. Like when you gave it throttle, the bike just picked up and go. So it didn't feel like it was trying to bunt me off the bike or anything like that. So I really don't know what it could be. Mind you, these Triumphs are known for having some gremlins in them from their design point of view. So I don't know what it's going to be. It's just... right now it sounds normal once it warms up. Now, mind you, this bike does run a little funky in the cooler weather. Once you get below 10, 15 degrees Celsius, the bike sometimes is really hard to start. Any cooler right now would probably be really hard to start. But the moisture in the air right now, you could kind of see it's already foggy over there and stuff like that. So that's what you're seeing with the exhaust. It's not coolant you're seeing. Again, my exhaust was clear last night. I let the bike run for a minute or two, and there was nothing coming out of it. It looked just like, only with the bike running, it looked like that. So last night when I parked it, so I don't think it's coolant in the exhaust. If it was, that would mean probably a blown head gasket. But then you kind of notice that power-wise. Now I know head gaskets can be a funny thing where when they cool down, they seal up, or they leak when they, when they're cool, and then they expand, and then the problem goes away. You get like a phantom problem that you can't track down because it's doing different things at different temperatures. I know about stuff like that, but I don't know how I'm going to test it. Again, no money to do anything. It's I know I'm griping and whining, but it's been a bit. You got to cut me some slack here. I mean, I worked very hard for this thing. I really did. Having no money to fix it. I mean, and then plus what's going on in my saw. I know, poor me. First world problems. I get it, but it's just the idea that I don't know how I'm going to fix this thing. I don't know how I'm going to diagnose it. But as I do. Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the road for this bike yet. I hope not. I mean, I really, really like this bike. I guess if I was going to do the 10,000 kilometer review, I'll do it. I just don't want to do it today because I'm not in the right frame of mind, to be honest, with you today to give you a good review. So overall, these are pretty cool little bikes, and they are sport bikes. And again, God knows how the guy before you handled it. I think the guy before me actually handled this thing quite well. Well, I'm going to get this in because it's going to rain on me now. Yeah, when it rains, it pours, right? But at least it started up, and yeah. But it didn't sound like that when I pulled into the... But the next dry day, whenever that's going to be, it could be, I might not get another chance to ride this thing this season. I only got 83 runs in this season. There's been a lot of rain this season too, and stuff like that, and other things going on. I was hoping to get 200 runs. Like last year, I got 106 runs. I'm only at 83 as of last night. I'm like, that's craziness. But they've been good runs. Been enjoying it. I've been enjoying this thing. This thing, yeah, maybe someday it might become a track bike. Who knows? It would be an awesome track bike. The way it handles, oh yeah, superb. But technically, there's problems. I don't know what the problem is. I was going to do a pretty good teardown this winter of a full tune-up, all that stuff. I probably still will. I mean, maybe I was lucky and it was just like the spark plugs are going awry on me or whatever. Something simple like that. That it was, maybe the plugs are doing something funky or whatever. But it is what it is. No, there's still oil in it. I just checked it before I started it up. The oil levels were fine. Yeah, I don't know what it could be, but a check engine light, I don't have a code reader, I don't have anything, I have no way to work on it. That's a problem. Like, I got a little bit of tools or whatever, but I got no money for parts, so I don't like taking things apart till I have money to fix it. Is it a bike worth fixing if it's something major? I don't know. The thing is I've grown pretty attached to it, but... one thing I learned about owning motorcycles is sometimes you have to know when to let them go. You know what I mean? Like you never really want to. They're like it's like breaking up with a girlfriend. You know what I mean? You don't want it to end. You know what I mean? But then sometimes it's like if they're going to be causing you too much trouble, you got to kick them to the curb. Not to get too hung up on it, or else you'll spend $100 to save 10, and before you know it, you've got a $10,000 into a machine that's worth $3,000. And I don't want to do that. But you never know. If I could find another one as parts, maybe. That'd be a cool idea too. I don't want to make this bike a parts bike. I just like this bike too much. But last night's run was so good too with the cooler air out there. It ran so nice. But then all of a sudden, just as I was coming into the town, it started, that sound. I was like, okay, what was that? I thought, well, maybe I just blew out a baffle or something like, hopefully something minor like that. But I don't know what it was. And without a compression gauge, I can't tell you if there's some leakage there or a leak tester. Pretty much use a compression gauge to test it for leaks, to figure out whether maybe I got a valve leak or a bent valve. But if it was a bent valve, you would hear it today. You know, like that's not going to go away. Today, it's not making the sound that it was making last night. So, but it got me home. So, yeah. But anyway, I just thought I'd give you guys a kind of a bit of a depressing video, but it's a very poor me video. But it just kind of is the way things go sometimes, and you just gotta deal with it however you deal with it. It's not the end of the world. It's a machine. It's a machine I like, and I want to fix it. I just got to figure out what the hell's going on with that. Hopefully, maybe it's just this thing having funky problems or whatever. Hopefully, it's that simple. But considering my deal with Murphy, usually I'm never that lucky. So, but I'll take it out the next time I get a chance to see what it doesn't. It's not like I really hammered on this bike. Yeah, I opened it up a few times. I topped it out once. But I always let the bike warm up. I don't just hammer on this bike, so I do roll-ons, but I haven't. Well, I did one accidental power wheelie with it, but I don't wheelie it. I don't do endos and all that crazy stuff. I don't use it as a stunter. I just ride it, zip through the corners, have a lot of fun with a big grin on my face, do some blasters down the road, and that's about it. But I don't just crank it like that. I'm always easy. I always power my way up, smooth and whatever. I ride it the way a bike's supposed to be ridden. Like put the power when you need it. Don't put any more excessive power than you need to do what you need to do. I try to be as smooth with the bike as possible. So smooth means it's going to last longer, typically. But it is a high-performance engine, and with high-performance engines, reliability sometimes goes, no matter what manufacturer you're talking about. I've seen GSXRs on the side of the road and Hondas on the side of the road, and I've seen them all on the side of the road. So a vehicle's a vehicle's a vehicle's a vehicle, is what it is. But right now, I guess technically I'm down to my Unico, my beloved SUV. So don't fail me now. You know what I mean? But we're going into the winter pretty soon anyway. I mean, we're into September, going into October. I got into November last year. I think it was like November 3rd or 5th or whatever it was, my last run last year. So who knows, maybe I'll get a couple more runs out of this thing before it finally dies. But then again, if it's got problems, I don't want to ride it and make it worse. But I have to ride it to see what it's doing or not doing. It's just one of those things that I think it just needs a bunch of maintenance too. Well, not that much maintenance. I mean, this bike chassis-wise doesn't really need anything. But it would be nice to zero time everything. Tune-up wise, the big maintenance thing I did there, which kept me off the road for 10 days, that really helped the bike in its running. It ran so much better after just cleaning things out. And one of the things I wanted to do this winter is just pull everything apart, clean it, put it all back together. Check out my valve clearances. It is at the mileage where, again, I don't know when the last, if it's still got the original cam chain in it or whatever, cam chain tensioner. I would like, it's at the mileage where you'd replace those things anyway if you didn't want to create problems for yourself. But I have no money to do it. That's the problem. But if I can get the money to do it, then yeah. I'd like to do that this winter, so when I put it on the road in the spring, it's like a brand new bike again. But if I've got all kinds of electrical problems, I don't know what problems they could be. Some sort of a relay, a chip, a sensor, these are electronic speedos, so this was relatively new technology when it came out. So it's not uncommon to see these old LED things fail on people. Is it the unit itself? Is it, I'm sure this unit would be astronomically, stupidly expensive, so it wouldn't be worth it. I'll just drive by RPM, and, I know how fast I'm going anyway, in what gear, at what RPM, so I'm not worried about the speed, but as long as it's not affecting the mechanical of the bike, but it's good to have everything working properly, Yeah, you can live with some things, but, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things that it still shifts okay. It's a little clunky from first to second, I find, but maybe it needs a little bit of a clutch adjustment, eventually. But there's no creep or anything like that. But maybe for the shifting, maybe I don't have the, freshen up just a clutch adjustment. I mean, not replacement, but like adjustment. Yeah, after a few thousand clicks, you probably, like 10,000 clicks. That's 6,000 miles, depending on how you rode too. I mean, again, I did open up the bike a bit too, so maybe it's just, you know, a slight adjustment just to make it, you know, just a little bit smoother on the clutch. Maybe that might make a difference. Chain tension, rear chain tension. I had no problem with that once I got it adjusted. I still need stands, and, you know, I need everything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you want to play, you got to pay. That's the way it goes. But I don't know why the check engine light is on. I have no money to take it to a dealership or like that to fix it. If it's going to get fixed, it's going to get fixed by this guy. And but to fix anything, I don't like to throw money at things, especially when, you know, I don't have the money to do it. What I prefer to do is diagnose the problem, then fix it, because sometimes it's something that you know, you put all this money into it, and all of a sudden it's not what you needed, right? That's why I do the maintenance I do on my bikes, and I've kept this bike up pretty good. I got to say that, you know, like everything is adjusted. I you know, do a pre-flight on it almost every time I take it out. I think I might have missed one, which was actually yesterday. Come to think of it, I didn't check everything, but I just jumped on it and went. But usually I'll do a quick walk around, 5 minutes, just go over, see if anything came loose or whatever. Yeah, sure, I'll do that stuff you know, all the time. Check the oil fluid, the tire pressure, you know, if the brake calipers are, you know, loose or whatever. I check all that stuff all the time. The axle bolt, I just, you know, just give it a quick check. The chain tension, I check that all the time, almost every ride. Yeah, you know, like full, like, kind of safety, like check the taillights and all that stuff. Yeah, I do that once in a while too. Usually what I call my Sunday maintenance, which could be any time of the week, where at least once a week, where I check my high beam, my low beam, my brake lights, my signal lights, look for things that might be needing of repair, such as that. We won't talk about that. But, you know, like, things fall apart, you know, like, it just is what it is. And these things, when they break, I mean, how am I going to replace those, you know? I'm going to have to glue this one back together this winter or whatever. I got to take the fairings off this winter and detail the crap out of the bike. But the thing is I got to figure out what's going on. And I'm praying I didn't blow the head gasket, because that would really suck. The other thing that could have happened too is maybe I got a hole in the exhaust somewhere that made a noise that I wasn't, you know. Again, when you're riding around, you can't really tell. The bike is not super horribly loud, but it does seem to be louder than when I bought it. So, you know, these things, I mean, mufflers don't last forever either. And I'm sure if you crank it up, I mean, this is a 12.5 to 1 compression engine. So there's a lot of force going through that, you know, that exhaust too. So you never know, you know, some of that noise could be just attributed to, you know, disintegrating the muffler in there. I'd have to pull it apart to know for sure, but audibly, yeah, this bike is a little bit louder than what it used to be. So it's getting there. But I love the sound of that exhaust. It's a nice exhaust, but, you know, it is what it is. Is what it is. Obviously, there's no oil coming out here, so that's a good thing. There's no oil on the ground, so there's dirt on the ground in here, but there's no oil on the ground, so that's good. But again, I don't know. I don't want to pull it off the road yet. I mean, pulling it off the road is basically what I mean is like, okay, fairings are coming off, tanks coming off. I'm going to start the tear down, pull the throttle bodies out, clean them up, do this, do that, take the radiator off, flush the rad, all that. Like, I mean, all the stuff that's going to take me like 2 weeks to do. The stuff that I should have done this time last year, so that I didn't have to worry about doing it midway through the season. Getting the bug, I mean, it's going to take me like 3 months to get all those freaking bugs off there. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It kind of sucks that my engine light's on. I don't know why it's on. But as you see there, it started up no problem. Almost all my starting problems were gone after I did that big maintenance thing that I did to it. But who knows? Maybe I sucked a bird or something into the airbox or something. You never know. Maybe the airbox just came off a bit. You know, especially a sound like that. Maybe I did suck something into the... I mean... You know, if you were a little birdie and you were flying in front of me, you know, when I'm zipping through the corners, you might get sucked up into there, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe it's something as simple as that, and it just gave the bike a funny sound because the intake noise was different. I don't know. Maybe there's a bird in there or something like that. You never know. You never know. Like, I don't think I hit anything last night. Like I say, and when I was driving, power-wise, the bike was, there was no difference in throttle response. It was still, if anything, it was more powerful last night than it has been in a while, because the air was cooler. And it's like, when the air gets cool, it's like this bike gains like 5 horsepower. I swear to God, it's such a fun little machine. It was cool last night. I had to kind of layer up underneath my onesie there just to stay warm. I didn't go very far last night, but it was a great ride. And I did a couple of blasters through the corners or whatever, and coming in, yeah, I opened it up a little bit, but I haven't this year I didn't open it up full at all this year. Why? I know what it does. It's a 150 mile an hour bike is what it is. It's a fast little snot machine. That's what it is. But I know it'll do that, but you're going to die doing stuff like that. So what I'm talking about opening up, I'm just talking like a quick little blaster, maybe. Well, you can, maybe last night I might have hit 10, but usually like 7, 8, and then that's good enough. I usually don't go much more than that. And it's just like for like a second or two, just to open it up, hit the speed, roll it off, a nice big straightaway somewhere. Going through the corners, what I usually do is I gear down and I power up to maybe 7, 8, maybe 9, 10 at the most, and say like third gear or something like that, and just power my way through a nice corner and just do that whoop, make you feel like Valentino Rossi a bit, but knee out, not knee down. I don't do knee down on the streets. Not that I don't think I'm capable of doing it. On street tires, number one, last night the roads were cool. So what that means is that you don't have the traction you'd normally have, especially with sport touring tires. It felt like the bike was like, it was very nimble last night. I mean, I got really good tire pressure figured out. Look at these two, Twiddledee and Twiddledum there. Come and doing stuff. You gonna come fix my bike, Missy? Macy, you gonna fix my bike for me? Yeah, thank God I got pets. Thank God I got you guys. Yeah, I don't know why. You're a bunch of pain in the butts and you're crawling all over my bike all the time, leaving paw prints. But okay, I'll pet you. It's all about you. Now, here I am trying to wallow in my pity with my broken motorcycle, and it's all about you. And then I got to pull your tail too. Anyway, okay, you guys are slimy all wet. It's drizzling out. But as I was saying, now I'll just wrap up on this. Yeah. It's down, but it's not out. You know what I mean? I'll figure out what it is. One thing I did do is I did download the Triumph Tune ECU program. I just don't have the money for the OBD2 reader. I don't have the money for anything to basically buy it, and which would probably tell me what my error codes are. Then I'd probably figure out what's wrong with that. And once I can figure out what's wrong with that, then I can figure out what's going on there and what to check. Maybe a wire just got loose. Maybe there's something else. Again, maybe something went into the intake. Who knows what happened? But last night, yeah, it was different. It got me home. Now, maybe the check engine light came on before I got home, like, halfway from Kaz to here, but I only noticed it when I hit my turn coming in, and it seemed like when I was right in the turn, that's when the bike made a different sound, and I don't know what it was. Like, it sounded like it was running, it sounded like a V-twin, so, but yet all the power was there was no drop in power, whatever, just the check engine light came on, and the tone of the exhaust sounded different. Now, maybe it's possible, maybe there's a leak at the header. That's a possible too, but you'd think you would have heard that now if it came off a bit. Again, until I take the fairings off or whatever. Well, I'm going to take it for one more test ride. Not very far, just like kind of the edge of the town and back. Get it up to normal temperature. Then take it out. See what it's doing, if the power's gone or if there's something like that. It could be something internal that's not really, like, for example, maybe that sound wasn't, had nothing to do with the exhaust at all. Maybe it was the pump or something went. Who knows? But again, my engine temperature didn't go up above normal. Like, in fact, it was lower than normal last night because it was cooler out. So I don't know. But maybe with the, I got 20W50 oil in here. Maybe whatever it was, maybe it was, I don't know. Well, the oil was at normal temperature, like it was within operational temperatures. It was in the 70s, and then went up to the early 80s, which is perfect operational temperature for this bike. So it wasn't. It doesn't seem like it was that, but who knows? Maybe a part came apart in the engine and is flopping around the engine. Who knows? Anything's possible. But I don't know, guys. But it was kind of a little bit upsetting last night. It was a bit of a black pill for me to have to, come to it's like, wow, the ride's coming to an end. I mean, I don't even know how I'd get it on the road next year, but as long as it runs good, even if I have to take a season off because I can't afford to put it on the road, that's fine. As long as I have the bike and it's, with the parking plate on it, that's fine. As soon as I get the money, I can put it back on the road. But it is what it is. We'll see where it gets, what it is. As soon as I can get a means to diagnose the problem, I will. But I'll carry through the program that I was going to do anyway. As far as the 10,000 kilometer review, well, one thing I don't know now is what my actual mileage is going to be if my odometer is not counting the way it's supposed to count. For all I know, maybe the reason why this thing might have more mileage on it, maybe that's the second speedo that was on it, and tachometer setup. Maybe that's the second one. Who knows? You know what I mean? And maybe there's like 90,000 on this bike. Who knows? Again, I didn't get to do all the riding this season I wanted to do just because of finances. But if I was able to do three tankfuls a week on it, I'd be very happy. But it was more like a tank. Trying to stretch a tank full out every 2 weeks, so really little short runs. But a tank a week, it's $20 a week on it. You still have your fun. You still have your fun. But it'd be more fun if I could have done more road trips and stuff with it. But that said, who knows? Maybe the next bike, whenever that one comes around, maybe it'll treat me better. That's why you need multiple. Like if you can't afford expensive vehicles, you need multiple cheap vehicles. So when one breaks down, you can just switch to the other, and then hopefully when you get enough money, you buy another cheap vehicle so that when those ones break down, you got another one. You just keep cycling them, right? But it'd be nice to have something that would just last, and I was hoping that this bike would be that bike, that I'd be able to ride for another 10 years or something like that, just for fun. But we'll see. Again, it's not dead in the water yet, and whatever. And I'm still going to do the 10,000 kilometer review. I might just do it inside or do a voiceover of one of my videos, and here's a compilation of some footage of me riding around, and I'll tell you the good things about it, the bad things about it. And I mean, it's not a perfect bike, but there's a lot of great things about this little bike. It's just like anything, when things break down, you don't want to reviewing broken down things. But strangely enough, like my problems only started about 2 weeks ago. But like I say, it never left me anywhere. There's only one time where it scared me up in Maniwaki, and I think that was there was an evil spirit in the Pathonga boat that was there. Other than that, yeah, that was the only place where I never was able to restart. I had a hard time restarting it. Other than that, ever since I did the maintenance on it, it's ran good. Last night again, it ran fantastic until I got into the town and everything kind of went awry on me and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm ranting now. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happened. Maybe it's something as simple as a weak plug or something like that. And again, I don't know. I'll have to diagnose it. The fun. All right. Anyway, guys, have yourselves a great day.